What's up, Leafs Nation? Welcome back to another game preview. I'm Zack Phillips, and today we're going to be taking a look at game number 5 of the regular season as the 3-1 Toronto Maple Leafs play host to the 3-0-1 New York Rangers here tonight. We'll dig into some lines, we'll look into the matchup, the goalie situation, some positive stuff that we've been seeing at a Leafs practice, as well as our best bet to close out the show. But let's get into the first and most important part of tonight. What are we looking at for lines for your Toronto Maple Leafs? Let's start here. If you head on over to Daily Faceoff, you can check it out. Our current line situation for the Maple Leafs, no real surprises. You start with Matthew Knies, Austin Matthews, and Mitch Marner. That line, finally, it took them 4 games into the season to start to get clicking, to start figuring things out and becoming an effective line that was pinning the other team in their own zone and creating opportunities. Austin Matthews gets on the board. We saw Matthew Knies get on the board a couple of games ago. Mitch Marner on the board as well. That line feels like they're going to start to cook some stuff up here. Between Knies doing things that the other two can't and won't, and winning battles and creating havoc in front of the net, also just maturing at a rapid rate. Mitch creating plays, and Austin starting to get things going here, maybe gripping the stick a little less tight after he scores his first goal the other night with the C on his chest. Feels like that group could be a one to look out for here tonight. Line number 2, the line that was recently crowned. I can't take credit for it. I saw it. I heard about it. The BMW line. Bobby, Max, and Willie. The BMW line. I will ride with the BMW line all night long. Bobby McMahon, Max Domi, and William Nylander. I was saying in the postgame show the other day, I've talked about this with other people in the past. When you're looking at some of these lines and how to construct them, who is best suited for certain spots, it's one of the reasons I think Matthew Knies works so well in that top group. It's one of the reasons I think Bobby McMahon is going to work so well on this second line here is the Zach Hyman effect. Ever since we saw him in that prototype here in Toronto playing amongst that top group, then he goes out to Edmonton and has automatic success with Connor McDavid, it's like, okay, what is it that's happening here for this guy to be put into that spot and put up these points and be as effective as they are? Well, it's a couple of different things, right? It's the tenacity. It's how efficient they are with the minimal. I don't mean to demean them, and minimal is probably the wrong word, but I say minimal relative to their line mates, skill sets that they have. That is not a knock on these guys. Minimal is the wrong word. I already said it. I was stuck in that train of thought. I had to just keep using the word. Hopefully you guys can understand. But minimal, I say, just relative to the other people. Does Matthew Knies have the same shot, hands, whatever as Austin Matthews or Mitch Marner? No, he doesn't. But he's so good and effective at playing his role and being an efficient player with the skills that he has. And I think that same kind of sentiment goes for Bobby McMahon and is going to be really, really important for him alongside Max Domi and William Nylander. The other thing about this line, William Nylander needs to be a focal point for him to excel. He is here. Bobby McMahon and Max Domi are not as good of players as he is. No knocks against them either. It's just they're not, and they would tell you that they're not. They're not paid like he is. It's just a fact. They're not as good as him. He becomes the centerpiece, and all of a sudden, that line starts to flourish. I think that that's the way it needs to be. That's the type of player William Nylander is, and that's the kind of line mates he has to have. And these guys work perfectly for him. So as much as I just said about them not being as good, they're the perfect companions for William Nylander and on this line. The BMW line. I like it. I'm keeping it. Let's keep it rolling. Pontus Holmberg, John Tavares, Nick Robertson. Looks like we will not see Max Pacioretty slot back into this lineup here tonight as of right now. Recording this at like 4 p.m. on Saturday evening ahead of this Leafs game. I tried to wait for as long as possible to give you guys the best information that I could. Try to find out anything that we could about this Leafs lineup, any news coming out. This is what we've got so far. Holmberg, Tavares, Robertson. I'm going to say this, and I got to say it candidly. They need to be a lot better. They were pretty bad in the game against the Kings the other day, which was kind of impressive to do because you won 6-2. And it felt like the Leafs kind of took over the game from the very first drop of the puck to the end final buzzer. There was a couple of blips here and there where it was like, hey, LA put on some pressure. But you expect that out of a team that's trailing behind. That line was not good enough. Nick Robertson, stellar in camp, deserved a spot out of the preseason coming into game 1. He hasn't come out of this lineup here yet, hasn't got on the board. He showed us, hey, I score goals, I do all these things defensively. He's been rather invisible, and it just hasn't been good enough for a guy who demanded a place in this group because of his offensive ability. The offensive ability has not been there yet, and he's not wowing me in other areas of the ice. Johnny T, I mean, the amulet may not be helping speed. Let's just put it that way. The amulet has not helped speed. Pontus Holmberg has been rather just a replaceable piece as of right now. He has been a guy that if he came out of the lineup, I don't think anybody would be like, damn it, he has to stay. So Pontus Holmberg remains on the third line. They need to be better. Fourth line stays the same. Lorentz, Kampf, Reeves. Good with that group. I think that they've been pretty solid. If they get on the board here tonight, I mean, I will be really happy. So as things go for the forward group here for this team tonight, we're experiencing no changes, but I want a whole lot more out of that third line. I kind of want to see the fourth line continue what they did the other day. And then if the second line, that BMW, if they are a mess to deal with, this team will be in a good spot as we continue forward in the regular season. And as Brad Treliving sorts out who stays and who goes and what spots he needs to fill in. Let's now go to our defensive pairings for tonight's games. Defense, one change only. You may have guessed it. Timothy Liljegren out, Connor Timmins back in. We expected a carousel. We talked about it in the morning take shows that I was on with. I hear Nick and Rosie bringing it up. We've talked about it on the After Dark shows. That spot, that final spot, is not set in stone. Are you going to go into the lineup and show Craig Berube that you deserve to be in there? Then you'll get a chance to go in the next night. If not, you're out. Timothy Liljegren did not have the greatest game the other night against the LA Kings. He wasn't awful, but he did nothing really to say, I need to be here. So Craig Berube, get back to the press box. You want to prove it? You want to play here? You want to be in this lineup every night? Show me. Timothy Liljegren, not enough the other night. That's the only change out of that group. Connor Timmins in, Timothy Liljegren out. So outside of that, Riley, Tanev, first pair, Ekman Larson, Jake McCabe, love them. Simone Benoit, Connor Timmins, those are your third pair. As for the power play and the penalty kill special teams units, no changes from last game. Ekman Larson remains the quarterback on power play number one there. You got Mitch, JT, Willie, Matthews, and OEL. Then on PP2, you're going to get Nyes, Domi, Riley Robertson, and the key piece for me as we go to the next segment, Bobby McMahon. And finally, goaltender for tonight, Anthony Stolarz gets the tap to go head-to-head with Igor Shesterkin. And if you haven't already to talk about the goalie matchup, we had Carter Hutton on the other night after the LA Kings game, helping us break down everything there. Hutz put out his own goalie preview and the tail of the tape between the two guys, Shesterkin and Stolarz, and what to expect out of them here in this battle tonight. So those are your lineups. That's how things shake up for the Toronto Maple Leafs as we get ready to go into game number 5. But before we do, I want to, before we get to our next segment, we're going to be placing some bets. Things have been up and down so far this year, slightly down on the season, but I feel good about tonight. I feel real good about tonight. And this pregame betting segment is brought to you by Bet365, proud partner of the Leafs Nation pregame and the Leafs Nation After Dark. You can open an account with Bet365 today and bet on a huge range of markets. So whatever the sport, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Make sure to use code TLN bonus. That's TLN BONUS when you sign up today. So, as I said, not being like spectacular. We're not blowing anybody away. We're tracking everything here throughout the course of the season. As for our pregame bets and everything that we've been giving out, we are 2-2. We are down 0.16 units on the year. If you have been following along with the unit sizing, that's what factors into it. We're not just going one unit. We're playing some different odds. We're playing some different style bets, and we're going to play them based on how confident we feel on these. I don't want to bet the same amount of stuff on something that's maybe a plus 1,000 as I want to bet on something that is, a plus 110 or a minus 110, for example. Some of those things are going to differ, and I'm going to feel differently about some of the stuff depending on how things go. So that's kind of where we're at. We had a losing bet the other night. Matthew Nyes, it was the biggest bet we've placed, plus 125. We went a full unit, $100 to profit, 125 loses. That puts us down 16 total dollars on the season. But I'm feeling good about where we're at tonight and the bets I should say that we have. Let's start with this one. So first of all, head on over to the Bet365 app, easy, or website, easy to use. We're going to scroll down to the Rangers-Leafs game, and it's hard for me personally to find value on sides and totals. I'm not going to lie to you. That's why I like the player props. I feel like there's spots that I can pick out that I know there's some value on. There are areas in which we can beat our friends over at Bet365 because we know the lineups, we know the game, we know how things will shake out, who they're going to match up against, all that kind of stuff. There are things they're taking into consideration, but there's things I think we know or are anticipating that just might not be properly factored in. So we're going to head over to the player prop market, and for our first bet, we're going to stick in the goal scores. We're going to scroll down a little bit, and we're going to be looking at a little bit of a higher odds bet here tonight. Our first bet for 1/5 of a unit. I was trying to think in my head quickly how many units it is. 1/5. So $20 of our $100 unit size on Bobby McMann, anytime goal scorer, right there at plus 500. I personally think Bobby McMann is being priced as like a third line player, a guy who's not getting the minutes and the trust that Craig Berube is putting into him. I know that Berube sat him out in game one and kind of said, hey, you need to be better. We need more from you. And that was understandable. But Bobby McMann came back, and we saw him hop into some of those games in a third line position and not getting power play opportunities. And he was being priced around here with those. He was kind of in that 500, 550, 600 range. And now, here through a larger sample size of a couple games of him playing with William Nylander, we're still seeing him be priced at the plus 500. I think that this is wrong. I don't think it's crazy wrong. I want to put that out there where we're going to be blowing away our unit sizes and our bankroll trying to hammer this bet. This is a small bet. This is a $20 bet to win. This is a $20 bet to win. I believe it would be $100 and $200, sorry, on this game here tonight. Math just quickly escaped my brain as I was trying to think about that. Bobby McMann, anytime goal, plus 500. That is going to be our first bet. Please play these responsibly. So that would win you $20 will win you $100 there for that one. The reason I got the math screwed up is because where I'm going with the next one here as well, I figured, you know what? We're playing a smaller one. You guys are gonna be looking, thinking, oh, why are we stopping short here? Why is this the end? You're just doing a little small bet for us tonight. Obviously, please play responsibly, but I sometimes can buy into narratives, and I can buy in to, some like superstition kind of stuff. Like, hey, I saw this, there's good vibes. So I saw something earlier today out in the streets of Toronto, and I thought, I have to do it. I was walking around downtown Toronto, and I saw this sign. McCabe 22. Come on. You're telling me that on the day of a Leafs game, I'm going to happen to walk past the McCabe 22 sign stapled to a street light, stapled to a pole out downtown Toronto, McCabe 22 up there. It is, as I tweeted, a McCabe anytime goal kind of night. Now, as I have said, please play these responsibly. If you go over to Bet365, take a scroll down, you're going to find them near the bottom. That's for a reason. But Jake McCabe, plus 1,200, anytime goal scorer. We're going to put $10 on this one. We're going to play a real small. We're going to play it to profit 120. Those are our best bets for tonight. Please, again, play these responsibly, but Jake McCabe, bomb from the point, off someone's ass and in. That's the way I'm looking at this one. Bobby McMann, anytime plus 500. Jake McCabe, plus 1200. Those are the best bets. Thank you so much to everyone who tuned in to the game preview. If you enjoyed it, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, drop your thoughts below. Am I right? Am I wrong? Do you have predictions? Do you have other best bets? Do you hate these best bets? Do you hate the lines? I want to hear all of it. Thank you so much for watching. I will be back here following tonight's game against the Rangers. Hopefully a win. No Rosie scheduled tonight. So, I mean, if you've been following the trend, that would also indicate much more likely to have a win here tonight as well. But after the puck drop, Leafs Rangers, I will be back here to break everything down, take calls from the chat. Thanks so much for watching. Appreciate it as always. Keep believing. More content just like this, including game previews, post-game live shows, Leafs Morning Take Monday through Friday with Nick Alberga and Jay Rosehill with special guests, as well as instant reaction videos. Make sure to be subscribed here to the Leafs Nation YouTube channel. Turn on notifications so you don't miss anything, and drop a like.